It's not about the vehicle of transportation. It's about the destination. My name is Steve Harris. I'm a life coach and business strategist. I got into the University of Benin to study industrial math. In my first year, I was pretty good. Top 10 in my department, pretty excited about that. I became the epitome of academic excellence, attending, discussion classes. And I found out that the people I was organizing discussion classes were passing and I was failing.
Then in school, we heard the results, our results were out, and we went to the notice board. I remember I went there with him that day. What we saw wasn't pretty nice.
I had grades as woeful as 4 over 100, 11 over 100, 13 over 100, and I read. So I walked into my course advisor's office to say, listen man, this can't be my grade. So young man, tell me, why do you think these aren't your grades? And I said, look sir, you said that if we bought the handouts, we would get 20 marks. Excuse me sir, I have handouts. So that's 20. In our last continuous assessment over 20, I got 14. So he says, how will you pass when we always see you with this girl? And then he mentions the name of the girl. No. I said, and for real, I said, she's my study mate. He said, keep on studying.
And he had to repeat.
Second semester, I go to check my grades. And I see those 5 words no college kid wants to see. Candidates is advised to withdraw. Now, after spending 5 years in school for a 4-year course plus ASU strike.
Something we need to understand is that Harris wasn't just the average church boy. At the time, he was the Secretary General of our fellowship. That's the third person outside the head pastor and the assistant pastor then, Steve Harris. Then he repeats again.
I started coaching my sister to pass interviews that I was not qualified to attend. So here's my little sister who's every morning wearing a nice suit, going to the bank, and she's working. And every morning my daily activities included washing the car, manicuring the garden, making sure the laundry was done, making sure the house was in order. Started from 100 level again, and my classmates were 16-year-old girls and 18-year-old boys. And at that time I was 25, shaved my mustache, shaved my beard.
Tried out for about 7 months. Then Harris called me up and I was like, man, bro, I'm not fit to.
I remember going for one interview at the local airport. One particular airline was recruiting. So I sat down with them, blended in like I was supposed to be there. And I was number 1. So I walk in and the head of human resources there says, sit. So I sat. He said, tell me about yourself. So I started talking. 3 minutes later, he says, you know what? This interview is over. You're exactly the person we're looking for. Let me have your papers. And that's where the problem began. That's where I started stuttering and stammering. And I said, I don't have any papers. He said, what do you mean? I said, I don't have my papers. He said, you forgot them at home. I said, no, sir. I dropped out of school. He said, what? I said, I didn't graduate. He said, what? I said, I didn't finish school. He said, so why are you here? My sister decided to take me on as her. The last month I went to my sister's apartment. She'd moved out of my parents' house in Inspaya. I walked into my sister's apartment for the first time. My sister probably was having a bad day. I don't know what it was. And she looked at me and she says to me, she said, Harris, my friend, be a man. I'm not giving you any money. She said, be a man. In my mind, I'm asking myself, so what have I been all this time? That set me on a path of self-discovery. So from dead-end jobs to hustling, Yahoo, I just had this epiphany. I said, they'll catch me. Charles Otsudor, he was one of the first to take a chance on me. Also was Pastor Femi Paul of the Grace Assembly.
Then he met with Fela Durotoye.
I got to church that day and my pastor just happened to bump, say, Harris, just the person I'm looking for. So we have a guest minister. I want you to be his protocol officer. So his name is Fela Durotoye. As Fela is speaking and I start listening to him, I start feeling something I haven't felt in a long time, and that's hope. I said to him, I said, this is the first time I've ever heard you speak. What you said has changed my life. I know that I should sow, but I don't have any money. So I pulled off my watch and I gave it to him. I got the privilege to work with him in a purely volunteer position. So I was coming every day from Inspaya to VGC. I did this for 5 months. Tara became my surrogate mother and my big sister at the same time. And Fela was my father, and they just allowed me to grow. When they're having strategy meetings, I'd finish my chores and sit and observe. And once in a while I'd ask them questions. And when I'd come back home, I'd practice what I saw them do. The opportunity came, we got a call from one of our clients. None of them were available. Fela began to panic because, we need to find somebody who would go. And God says to me, he says, this is your opportunity. I said, I was thinking. He said, yep. I said, Diamond Bank. He said, yep. I said, let me go. He said, eh? He said, what did you say? I said, nothing, sir. What makes you think you can do this? I'd followed you to FCMB. You gave me 5 minutes to talk to the class. I spoke to them. And because I'd practiced it, he said, do you have a suit? Office assistants don't wear suits. He said, you can't dress like a suspect and expect people to treat you like a prospect. As I wind down to, say something, all of a sudden I recognize him. He's a friend of mine from school. How far now? What are you doing here? I said, we have a training. He said, training now? You guys do consult? I said, hey, we have consultants. Say, hey, so who's the consultant? Who's going to train us today? He said, the guy that come out be. I said, no. He said, the guy don't day. I said, it's me. He said, you. He said, guy, wait till. Now you where I know. I said, he said, you where I know. I said, now you where I know. Now you go teach me. I said, say they come upstairs. I said, say we go see now. I just said to myself, I don't die. And I walked in, the guy's asking me where's Fela, and he's looking behind me, waiting for the person who's coming to represent Fela. And I'm like, Fela's not going to be coming. He said, so who's going to do this training? I said, I am. And he says to me, let me have your business card. Now, how many office assistants do you know carry business cards? But it's not what you don't have that limits you. It's what you have, but you don't know how to use. I said, I don't have. I said, God, I'm sorry. If you get me through this today, I swear I'm all yours. Whatever you want, I'm done. Just get me through today. Found my guy, Judy. And he did me like this. Like, you want yarn? Let's see what you got. But I recognize that focus creates blindness. In life, you have to know what to focus on. 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. And nobody knew it was my first time. The next day, Fela and I went to the training school. About 20 minutes into his presentation, he says, oh, I'm so sorry, please forgive me. How was Steve Harris's session yesterday? Everyone stood and they gave me an ovation, and they were clapping and catcalling and whistling and hollering. And Fela looks at me and he says, yeah. And that was the last day I was an office assistant.